Welcome to Quiet Hearts. I didn't expect that evening to fracture the life I thought I knew. There are days that vanish without a trace, and then there are the ones that carve a line between before and after. It was a late Wednesday in early autumn, the kind of day you forget even as you're living it. The sky above Marston Hill hung heavy, a flat sheet of grey pressing low, threatening rain but never following through. I lingered by the wide bay window in the living room, watching brittle branches sway in the restless wind. Something in the stillness made my skin prickle. I couldn't explain why. The house creaked the way old houses do, the sound of beams expanding and contracting with the weather. But that night, the groan of the wood felt different. It carried a weight I couldn't name. I started up the narrow staircase, hand skimming the worn banister. The hallway was cloaked in half-light, shadows pooling in the corners like they were waiting for me. As I reached the top, I noticed Liam's bedroom door slightly ajar. Normally, that wouldn't have meant much. He was careless about such things, but tonight, it felt intentional. Or dangerous. I stepped closer, my footsteps far louder than they should have been against the old wood floors. My fingertips brushed the frame of the door. My breath caught. And then the door shifted slightly on its own, creaking in a way that made my stomach clench. Inside, Liam sat on the edge of his bed, laptop perched on his knees. The pale glow from the screen lit up his face, his brow furrowed with concentration. At first glance, I thought he was scrolling through a movie or playing one of those online games he liked. But then, in the reflection of the window glass behind him, I caught a glimpse of something else. Not a clear view, just enough to understand. The sound. The movement. The unmistakable rhythm. I froze. Every muscle in my body locked in place, my heartbeat thudding like distant thunder. I should have turned back, given him privacy, allowed myself the illusion that I'd seen nothing. But I didn't move. And then Liam's eyes flicked upward. They met mine in an instant that felt like it lasted forever. He went pale. Panic surged across his face. The laptop snapped shut with a hollow clap, and the silence that followed felt like the world collapsing in on itself. I thought the door was closed, he stammered, his voice almost a whisper. Liam wasn't a child anymore, 23, fully grown. And yet in that moment, he looked unbearably young. I, on the other hand, felt every one of my 48 years. My name is Maren. Twice divorced, worn down by life's blows. But standing there, staring at my stepson, none of that seemed to matter. I stepped back and gently pulled the door closed. Downstairs in the kitchen, I gripped the edge of the counter, fingers digging into the chipped wood. My heart wouldn't slow. Questions spiraled. Why didn't I knock? Why didn't he lock the door? Why did I feel something I shouldn't have? It wasn't desire, not then. It was more dangerous than that. Something I couldn't label but knew I had to bury deep. For 3 days, we didn't exchange a single word beyond the necessary. Meals were eaten in near silence, the clink of utensils at the table sharp as knives. We avoided each other's eyes like the act alone might burn us. Until the night he finally spoke. We were finishing dinner, the tension nearly unbearable, when Liam cleared his throat. Maren, he began. His voice cracked. About the other night. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were home. I never wanted you to see that. I hope it doesn't change how you think of me. I looked at him carefully. He was ashamed, but he wasn't hiding. We've all been caught off guard, I said slowly. Trust me. I've lived through worse embarrassments. A ghost of a smile flickered at the corner of his mouth. To break the heaviness, I told him a ridiculous story from my 20s, something so humiliating it still made me cringe. He actually laughed, a sound I hadn't heard from him in weeks. The tension loosened for just a heartbeat. And then I saw his expression change. "I guess we're even now," he murmured. "Even?" I asked, puzzled. He swallowed hard, his gaze dropping to the table. "Because I've seen you too. Before." My heart stopped. "What do you mean?" He looked up, eyes steady. At first it was by accident. But after that, I didn't look away. I should have been furious, should have stood up and left the room. But I didn't. Instead, my pulse hammered, and something flickered in my chest, a tangled mess of fear, confusion, and something else I refused to name. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked softly. "Because," he said, voice barely audible, "I think about you more than I should. And after the other night, I can't pretend anymore." The air thickened around us, so still it was suffocating. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because the truth was, I hadn't stopped thinking about it either, not just what I'd seen, but the fact that I hadn't walked away immediately. That I'd stood there, frozen, unable to close my eyes. And in that unbearable silence, we both understood something had shifted between us forever. There was no going back.